All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. I'm excited to be back here with everybody today and to actually talk to you about some very exciting special announcements that we have to make. Let's give a second here for everybody to pop in, and we're going to go right into it today because there are so many things to talk about. So I want to know how everybody's summer is going so far. I missed everybody so much. I have been out of the loop for a little while. So if you're watching, please send a comment up. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know that you're on, and please participate with the comment section. So today, aside from wearing my special shirt for a special announcement, I love Hawaiian shirts. I know we've talked about it before, but I always have to reiterate the reason I love them so much is that they don't have a top button. And it's not because I want to show off the lack of chest hair that I have, but it's because the top button, they don't do it because they think it's too uptight. So there are no top buttons on these shirts. Try to make sure there are no top buttons in life. So anyway, thank you everybody for being here. I have not done a show since February, and I have missed the opportunity to talk to everybody and to see my community and to see my friends. Hey, Paula, good morning. Hey, Sue, I'm so glad you're with us. Hey, Molly, I'm glad to see you on as well. And thank you everybody for joining today. So today, what I'd like to do is, as we always do, start off with our quote of the day, because this relates directly to the news that we've got to share today. So today's quote comes from, let's see, Jacques Cousteau, who's an amazing guy in general, but he says, water and air, the two essential fluids on which all life depends, have become global garbage cans. Now, why did I pick that quote for today? Well, it has everything to do with what I'm about to share with you. So, recently I found out that my cancer has grown a considerable size. I stopped taking the medicine last year, and the tumors basically doubled in size, which has remotivated me because this story that I've been able to work on now, I've been working on this story for about 2 years now, and it is called Phosphate. And Phosphate is the name of the documentary. Phosphate revolves around checking out how the phosphate mining industry ruins the local lands and gets a lot of people sick. People have accelerated cancer rates. They have other types of sicknesses that come from phosphate mining. As a matter of fact, in Florida, they have a 6 times the national average rate of phosphate. Of cancer in their communities. I wanted to pop that up so you guys can check it out. Please go to our Phosphate Movie page on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Now, the reason I'm really excited about this is that we have a full distributor, which means it's going to be going out internationally, and we're going to be able to tell the story internationally. One of the things I found, and this center is in Florida, one of the things I found in Florida is that the local press doesn't do enough to cover everything. Hey, Camilla, good to see you here. Hey, Vera, nice. Thank you for joining today. Well, if you haven't already seen the trailer, what I'd like to do is share it with everybody, and I'm actually going to do it like this. Here we go. So here we go. Enjoy the trailer. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2005. I was part of a growing population of people with hybrid cancers from environmental factors. So I decided to travel to one of the most toxic places in America, Florida. In reality, one of Florida's biggest industries and best kept secrets is phosphate mining. But for every 1 ton of usable phosphate, there's 5 tons of radioactive rock left behind. Florida is so radioactive that the Fountain of Youth is closed due to radioactivity. And the biggest player in this $85 billion industry is Mosaic. Mosaic is self-regulated, which allows them to dump harmful chemicals and toxins into the water without many people noticing. People that work in the mine and live in the mine were getting accelerated cancer rates.
Lung problems, cancer problems, kidney problems.
In 2013, my uncle, our family dog, my brother, who was 21 years old, myself, and my father were all diagnosed with cancer.
Anything that's coming from there, from Mosaic, could reach into here and come through all these properties right here.
Normally, these areas are off limits, and today our opportunity had arrived, so we decided to go in and take a look. It's disgusting. It smells It smells horrible. So there's a consistency. There's supposed to be no phosphate there. In every single spot we grabbed it.
Everything they dump goes into the ground and migrates. It goes to the Atlantic Ocean and it goes to the Gulf of Mexico.
I received a message from a good friend last night saying that there were people inquiring about me. I noticed that I was starting to be followed by white trucks. I eventually found out that Mosaic Security Company uses all white trucks. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Pamela.
Not without permission.
Just a quick question for you. Okay. We visited a community built on old mining land, and you would have no idea how radioactive it is on these lands. And they were shocked to find out they've often been exposed to Fukushima level radiation.
So you don't have to necessarily work at the mines. You have to live around them or drink the water.
And this is the rock that's left over when they pull the phosphate out of the ground and separate it from the uranium. They give it to the counties, who then use it, adding it to roads. And I've heard of a famous rock pile here in Hardy Lakes Park that the kids like to play on. And with childhood cancer rates up 30%, local communities have stood up and taken their environment back. It begins when you ask the simple question, what's in my water? Okay, there we go. So it's actually going to be July 27th. So July 27th will be the day where it will be available online and through DVD sales. And then in August, we're coming to Florida and we're going to start doing some screenings down there. And we're going to get this amazing group of people. I met the most amazing activists in Florida, people that have been fighting mining, some of them for 30 years, some of them for 10 years, but all of them with their full hearts and their full lives. They spend their entire life checking out what's happening, learning about what the mining process is. And right now, Florida is engaged in a very strong battle because the mining giant Mosaic, who, we've had to keep this movie secret for a while, and I've wanted to tell everybody about it. But Mosaic is trying to get into DeSoto County, which is a small agricultural county. And what's happening there is the people said no. But then Mosaic said, well, okay, we'll just sue your county for, I think it was like $30 million or $60 million. And hey, Scott, thank you for joining. Scott, another person who is an extreme water warrior who always is out there fighting for clean water. So Mosaic said, listen, we're going to sue you guys. And DeSoto said, no, it's okay. Let's have a mediator. So a mediator came in. And what happened was normally Mosaic would have to do several permits in order to get to be allowed to go mine. So when they were rejected, sorry about that. When they were rejected, what happened was, they just said, we're going to sue the county. And the mediator came up with this plan that they would give Mosaic 4 years to run workshops. Now, mind you, these workshops are one-sided. The people that, are fighting against mining get 3 minutes. And the other people that are pro-mining, which are the experts, they're only Mosaic-based experts that come in, are the ones that get the full amount of time. So it's really more of a propaganda run than an actual workshop. But their idea, Mosaic's idea, is they're trying to prove to everybody that mining is harmless, that we have all seen what happened with Piney Point. Everybody knows that story. It's a national story. Unfortunately, what a lot of these people go through has not been a national story, but it should be, because people are suffering. People are getting cancer. People are getting kidney failure. People are having all kinds of issues. You saw Alan in there. He was on oxygen for a while. All of his conditions came from working in the mines. We've got people that used to work in the mines. We've got people that still do, that had to speak to us anonymously in order to tell us what was really happening there. And it is one of the most dangerous and horrible forms of mining. It's outdated and it needs to change. And the residents of DeSoto have said, no, not in our county. So what happens now, we come back to Mosaic's workshops. They're allowed 4 years for the workshops, which means they stop in 2023, I believe. If I'm wrong, please somebody correct me. So what happens is in January of 2023, they're going to have the ability to do one meeting where they will either approve or deny all of their permits at once. So it's a double jeopardy, because if Mosaic can convince the county commissioners, then they will get their permits and they will start mining in DeSoto, which has been able to stave this off for a long time. Now, why is mining bad? If you're not familiar with this, and I was shocked, I learned all of this when I went to Florida and I met these incredible activists, because it's a story that is kept secret. What happens is they basically pull water from the rivers, run it through their plants, and put some of it in what are called gypsum stacks, photo gypsum stacks, gyp stacks. And that is what Piney Point was. Now, Piney Point was the one that had closed for a long time ago. The chemicals in this gyp stack are so deadly that the EPA says they're not even allowed to dispose of them. So they build these giant stacks and they just keep these sort of raised fake ponds with the most toxic chemicals you can imagine. So what stays in the gyp stack actually does leach back into the ground through the limestone rock that creates most of Florida's underground and into the aquifers. Now, we're talking Piney Point went into the local water. It went into Tampa Bay. Previously to that, Mosaic had a massive spill back in 2016 where the EPA fined them, I think it was $2 billion, because they leaked over 200 million gallons of this toxic water into the aquifer. And then they told everybody it was fine and the water hadn't gone anywhere. So people were drinking this water. They were seeing it in their homes. The water was yellow and they were getting all these weird, like almost oil dots that were coming out in their water. It was very dangerous and a lot of people got sick. So when Mosaic pulls all the water from the river, they either recycle it and they run it through. Now, what do? They're separating uranium. Yeah, uranium, which is used for rocket fuel, for atomic bombs. I just learned recently that they were one of the premier providers of uranium to the bomb that they set off in World War II. That's how far back this mining process goes. Actually, it goes back to the 1800s. But so what they do is, they say that they don't do anything harmful. But I spoke to people down there that actually worked in these phosphate companies, and they made yellow cake uranium. So they're not fooling around. And the uranium is buried deep in the ground. So normally you're safe. But when the phosphate comes up, it brings up the radiation. And then they separate. And then they have these leftover rocks like you just saw in the trailer. And those are filled with radiation. So what they keep is their gyp stacks. And then what else they have is they just send the rest of the water back into the river through what are called outfalls. Now, when they pump their deadly water back into the rivers, the only regulation that Florida wants is for it to be of a neutral pH. They don't test for toxins, radiation, radium. They don't test for heavy metals. They don't test for cyanobacteria use, which is used in bioremediation. All they test is the pH level. They are poisoning the water, and as long as the pH level is fine, they're dumping it back in the rivers. Now, those rivers run into small tributaries and out into the Gulf and out into the bay and out into the ocean. And every town around the water pulls their local drinking water from, unless they're on well water, which already has been contaminated by all the leaking into the ground. So every town basically in Florida that's anywhere near these rivers, they're pulling their drinking water and their water they shower in, the water their children drink at school. All of this is coming from a water treatment facility. And in order to combat all of these chemicals, all they do is add chlorine. And we found insane levels of chlorine. We tested the waters. So, okay. So anyway, I want to say hi to everybody. Hey, Samantha, thank you for joining. Coralie, it's nice to see you on. Scott Wilson says, massive islands of dead fish reported by video all over Tampa Bay in the past few days following the storm. These chemicals are no good for nature. They're no good for people. They're no good for the environment, and they're no good for the future. And Mosaic knows that, and they're hiding everything under this thin veil of professionals. It's sickening, and it needs to stop, and it's never been exposed. And we are going to expose it internationally, and we're going to start an international conversation. People need to think about what's in their water. When you take a shower, your body is one of the biggest living organs in your body, and it just takes in, if you think about all the steam and all the water, you're showering in this stuff, you're going to get sick. Drinking tap water doesn't matter. Drinking bottled water doesn't matter. It's in canned goods. It's in beers and sodas. It's in everything that uses public water in these areas. Absolutely atrocious. Hey, Jeff, I'm glad that you are here this morning. It's good to see you. Jeff is another amazing water warrior. It's really cool to see everybody coming together. Molly says, and the cake is on the bottom of the Peace River. Oh, and the Peace River is supposed to be one of the most beautiful rivers out there. And it is the center of life for a lot of people that live near that river. And it's also insanely contaminated. I personally saw tons and tons of, when you look at the trailer and you see all that weird mucky looking stuff on top of the water, that was on the Peace River. Jeff, they only test for pH levels. Yeah. Incredible. They are separating phosphate and uranium, and they only have to test for pH levels when they put the water back in. And everybody is getting sick as a result. And Mosaic is saying, we are great stewards of the water. We are leaders in environmental, it's crazy the amount of stuff that they spew out to people. And they inundate people that live there with tons of commercials. They are masters at PR. They just play commercials all the time. Mosaic just jams it down everyone's throat. And a lot of people, look, it's a difficult situation. A lot of people work there. But Mosaic says that they're one of the biggest employers in Florida. That's a lie. They only have about 200 or 300 actual employees. Everybody else is a subcontractor. And what that means is that as a subcontractor, Mosaic does not have to take care of their health bills. They don't have to give them a health plan. They don't have to help them after they get sick. And everybody I talked to that had worked at these plants was sick, had issues. Hey, Sue, I'm so glad. Yes, there you go. Red tide that turned Florida coast into a wildlife killing field. Yes, Sue, as a matter of fact, what's fascinating is when the phosphate comes out and it runs into the rivers, phosphate feeds red tide. So you have your natural algae blooms that are just being blown out of proportion because we're feeding it like Miracle-Gro every time phosphate gets sent into there. Not to mention the cyanobacteria that is used for bioremediation. That is done in lakes. And what happens is they'll release it back into the water. And as it hits the Gulf or as it hits the ocean, the salinity changes and it breaks open. And basically the cyanobacteria just becomes this bomb, which also feeds and promotes more red tides. Very dangerous. Hey, Carrie, good to see you this morning. Nice to see you. Carrie Bowers is amazing. Another incredible activist and amazing wildlife photographer too. So you got to see some of her work. It is beautiful. Hey, Bruce, I'm glad you joined us today. And as Jeff says, that's the law. And that's the problem, Jeff. You've nailed it right there. The problem is not Mosaic. The problem is business as usual and best management practices. Now, what are best management practices? That means that Mosaic is self-regulated. I don't want to give away too much of the movie. I mean, there's a lot more shocking stuff in the movie. Trust me. July 27th. Please go to our pages. I just want to show everybody now that we're all here together. Please support this. And I'm not asking you to support the movie. I'm asking you to support the movement. This is a grassroots movement that's been going on for a long time. These people have been fighting their whole lives to stop phosphate mining in their backyards because they're all getting sick. Their friends are getting sick. Their children are getting sick. And me having cancer, I look at this and that makes me sick. So I'm asking for everybody to please go to Phosphate Movie, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and like the page, share the trailer, share the knowledge, share the information. Why has this never been done before? Because Mosaic is quick to sue everybody and quiet everybody, and they've been able to control the narrative for a long time. Well, it just so happened that, I don't care if they sue me. I don't care if they come after me. I don't care what happens as a result of the movie. And I found a distributor that's focused on social activism and social issues that affect people called Cinema Lead. Now, it's a perfect mix because they're not afraid either. So we are going to bring this story out. We are not going to back down no matter what Mosaic does. I know they've threatened to sue a lot of local activists, and that has prevented activists from continuing. They can't stop us. And please be part of our movement. They cannot stop us. I'm just trying to show everybody the voice from these other activists. You know, as somebody with cancer, I wanted to know what was happening down there. And what I learned shocked me. And it'll shock you as well. I guarantee you, you've never seen such flagrant disregard for people's health just for the sake of profit as you will with Mosaic. Jocelyn, thank you. I appreciate that, Jocelyn. Thank you so much. Please, everybody, share it. Molly says foam on top, same color as cake mud on the bottom. It's disgusting. And you'll see in the movie, we go into the field, we take our cameras out there, we will show you, we do water testing. We're going to show you how bad the water quality is as we're going down there. Vic, 12 more days in Facebook jail and I'm coming to bring hellfire. What can we do? What do you need from us? How can we start holding public awareness campaigns and talks? And how do we get governor's attention on this? Vic, those are all incredible questions. And what we're doing right now is working with a lot of the local activists to make sure that this movie gets screened everywhere that people need to see this, whether it's for county commissioners or city councils, but mostly it's made for the people. You know, they already know what's happening because most of them are getting paid by Mosaic. You'll see that in the movie as well. And I'm not even, you know, nothing in there is speculation. It's all based on fact and we back everything up. So it's not a movie of speculation. It's a movie to try to bring to light what's happening, turn the flashlight on in the dark, show what's going on. And, you know, even though they're going to try to scatter out of the light, we're going to keep them there. And Vic, we're going to have a lot of social awareness campaigns going on. The most we can do is make sure everybody sees this movie. And we're going to be down there running campaigns. We'll be doing some protests. I don't want to give away too much, but we have a lot of activities planned. This is not just a movie. Again, this is a grassroots movement to help boost a movement that's already been in play for quite a long time. I'm a small player in a big pool of activism. The people I met down there were amazing. They're amazing. I got to say, Florida activists are amazing. And this is the first movie that's going to bring together all these groups that are trying to work on their own projects in their own towns and try to stop everything on their own. This movie is going to bring them under one umbrella. And we're going to talk about clean water because no matter where you live in the world, no matter how clean you think your water is, trust me, you need to know what's in your water. Jeff says, Eric is brave and doesn't care. Well, you know, Jeff, battling cancer since 2005, I'm just, more than being brave, I'm outraged. Just as outraged as everyone that lives down there, that a company would be giving so much of us cancer. And if children are getting cancer and we can prevent that, we have to. It's important. It's important. It's not a movie. It's not a promotion. It's a personal mission. And I'm just proud to meet so many other people that were on this same mission. And we're going to bond together and make a change. Heather says it's coming back up here as we speak in a big way. Okay, so yeah, Heather's in Massachusetts, and she's been working on water quality issues up there as well. We're going to start to expose a lot of these issues this year. We're on a mission. We've got to make this change now. Molly got my back. Thank you, Molly. Molly is one of the water activists in DeSoto County. You will see her in the movie. She is incredible, very inspirational, and nothing stops her. Absolutely. Coralie says, be safe. Thank you, Coralie. Safe as we can. And Vic says, can we get this on Netflix? You know, Vic, we'll have more information on how we're going to distribute out, all in good time. Thank you, Jeff. Yes, exactly. You know, that's the whole thing is unity. The more we can combine, and look, this is a big problem in all of conservation. All these groups are focused on what they're doing. But if we look at the bigger picture and just say, let's demand clean water, which a lot of these groups do, then we're all going to come together. And if we become a unified voice, we'll be louder than all the white noise that Mosaic spits out all the time that keeps people from seeing the truth. Yes, and Vic says, thank you to me, but thank you to everybody that's dealing with this. There are a lot of people that have been through a lot in Florida, and I cannot wait to share their stories. It was very touching to be down there and to have so many people allow me into their lives, into their worlds, into their pain, into their battles. And I'm very proud of the movie, and I'm excited for everybody to see it and to get an understanding of what's happening down there, because this story is not just about Florida. It's a very specific story about Florida, but it's a story about every town in the US, and I think around the world. Everywhere I've been around the world has problems with water quality issues. It's all the same. The government allows corporations to dump their toxins back into local waterways. We can't do that anymore. We have to change. It's 2021. We're going off information from like 1905. We need to rethink, reassess, and build a new foundation for the future that comes from education and what we have learned in the last 50, 60 years. What they're doing is the old style from the Industrial Revolution. That means that the government still thinks in the 1900s terms. What is that? Right? Okay, so Carrie says, let's roll Nosaic. Yes, if you look at Carrie's thing there, go to Nosaic and check it out. It is a group on Facebook of the most amazing activists, and you can learn so much. They post a lot of great information there about what Mosaic is doing, and Nosaic is the group that has been organizing to stop Mosaic from that first permit, and they're incredible. And you talk about activism, you'll see a beautiful example of it there. And thank you, Camilla. Like I said, it's nothing more than trying to stop things that we know we can stop. If we can prevent cancers, then why aren't we jumping at the opportunity to do that? This doesn't have to happen. Kids don't need to get sick. No kid should ever go through what I'm going through, and they go through worse than what I'm going through. So, it's I become speechless when I think about it, because it's just, there couldn't be a more aggressive, horrible thing to do to children than to get them sick and pretend like they're not. It's no more. We're going to hold Mosaic accountable, and they're going to have to come out to us and start answering our questions instead of them answering their own questions with their own people. That doesn't work. That self-enclosed loop is about to be busted open. We demand answers, and we want them, and we're going to pose them, and we want Mosaic to talk to us. And the idea is not to shut Mosaic down, but to bring what's happening to light so that the people can say, make an educated guess. Do I want permitting in my county? Do I want Mosaic in my county? Do I want this health risk in my county? And if I've been sick because they're already in my county, aren't they responsible to help us after they've poisoned us? And that's what they're doing. They're poisoning everybody. And again, you don't have to live near the mines, because it comes down the river and it seeps into the ground. And Florida's built on limestone. So it's like a sponge. It's like a funnel. It just throws it right into the aquifer, throws it right into all the natural bodies of water. Jeff brings up a great point. Fluoride is not what you think it is. If you're happy about fluoride, you have to understand that in your drinking water, you're not getting medical grade fluoride like you're thinking from the dentist. You're getting hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is a byproduct of the mining industry that is so toxic, they are not allowed to get rid of it. So what do? They sell it in concentrated quantities that go to local municipalities, and that is added to your drinking water. And I'm not making this up. You can look it up yourself. Mosaic is one of the leaders in fluoride sales around the world. It's a bigger problem than we all talked about. Molly says, I hope people in devastated Hardee County see it. Oh, Hardee County is a rough one. We do a great segment in there about Hardee County and what's happening as well in the movie. Yeah, Jocelyn says Nosaic. Fantastic. Molly says, use the hashtag Nosaic should take you to the page. Perfect. So please, everybody, check it out. It's a wealth of information. Let's see. Corley says, my concern in Indiana are the chemicals sprayed on the corn and beans leaching into aquifers. That's another whole issue right there, Corley. You know, the use of glyphosates, the use of toxins that are being put on, and not only is it leaching into the ground and in the aquifer, and they're not admitting it, but people are eating that stuff. As a matter of fact, Moms Across America did a study about 2 years ago. They tested every orange juice they could get inside of a grocery store, and all of them had dangerous levels of glyphosate. We are all being poisoned for profit. And none of us want that. None of us see that same future. And the beauty of all these water groups is, even though they all have a different approach, they have the same desire for the future, which is to save the next generation. And that's what we're talking about. We can't change what's happening right now. We can start to stem it, but you know, we have a lot of work ahead of us, but we have to engage in this battle to make sure the kids are okay, to make sure the grandkids are okay, to make sure the next generations are having this issue. Hello, Sinwan, good morning. Jocelyn says, had fluoride in my drinking water in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Oh, well, Michigan's got a plethora of water issues too, huh? First fluorinated public water system. Goodness. Now she's right by the Peace River in Punta Gorda. You know, Jocelyn, Punta Gorda is where that we saw the images of the Fountain of Youth there that's closed due to radiation. There's a lot of issues going on there. Camilla says, thank you, Camilla. That's sweet. Real superheroes don't wear capes. They wear Hawaiian shirts. Exactly, because we're mellow, no top button. She said, didn't know this about fluoride and bottled water is full of plastic. And Sue brings up a great point. If your water's no good, what choice do you have? You know, you can either buy a filter, and that filter, the charcoal filter, is not going to remove radium. It's not going to remove heavy metals. It's not going to remove phosphate. It's not going to remove all the toxins and heavy metals. So you have bottled water, and you don't even know what's in there. And the bottles do leach out, and you end up with microplastics in your body, which I'm sure you guys remember. We've all talked about microplastics before and the dangers in those. And if you haven't, please check out the previous podcast on that, because it's an amazing topic and it's dangerous. Jeff says, most dentists don't even understand. They believe it's medical grade fluoride. Exactly. It is one of the biggest scams that's been perpetuated through PR and advertising that we know of. And it all goes back to mining. It's mining toxic waste. And again, it's so toxic, they can't just dump it somewhere. They have to dilute it. So the way they dilute it is they put it in our water, and then it filters through us, and then it goes into the waterways. And by the time it gets to the waterways, it is still at a dangerous level. And it's also causing us a lot of illnesses. How come more doctors haven't talked about this? You're probably thinking. Well, that's another fascinating story. There's only been one guy in Florida, Dr. Amir, who did a study of children's cancer rates. And I believe it was FSU said to him, okay, give us your study and we're going to put it in a bigger study. They shelved it. And I actually reached out to him, and he was afraid to speak. So, you know, these things are very controlled. Like I said, the narrative is very controlled. This is the first time we have to bust out of that, bypass the local press that is somewhat shackled to Mosaic. And we're going to bypass them and jump over them and bring this to the national and international attention. Vic, when we be violent? Never, never, Vic, never. This is a movement born out of positivity. Instead of worrying about the problems, we need to focus on the solutions. It's frustrating and it's difficult, and we have to remember that. But we have to remember that we need to lead by example, and we need to lead in a light of love so that we change it and we repaint the world into something that is more loving towards all of us and towards our environment and towards our animals. So I know you were just joking, but I had to say that because I do think it's very important. She says, I believe this. Yes. Jocelyn. Jocelyn, I'm really glad you're joining us today. It's not closed. Just a warning on it that's radioactive. Fountain is still there. Do you believe that? It's amazing. Here's the other thing about Florida that blew my mind. I didn't see one radioactive sign outside of Mosaic. If somebody has seen some, please let me know. but I have not seen a radioactive sign in Florida. You go by a Mosaic thing, you don't even know it's a Mosaic gyp stack. It's like a little, they'll have a gate and it looks like a berm or a hill. And as somebody pointed out to me when I was down there, there are no rolling hills in Florida. It's flat land. So when you see this giant slope that looks like it'd be fun to hill roll down, don't. It's toxic as can be. It's radioactive as can be, and they're hiding it. They are hiding it. They're hiding everything from people until now. They are not going to be happy about this. They're probably watching. If you're watching, hi Mosaic, please contact me so we can have a discussion. Let's talk. Let's do a public forum. Let's not bring your experts, but let's discuss really what's happening. Give me somebody from your administration. Let's discuss it. Don't be afraid to talk to us. All we want is a real conversation, not a one-sided PR show. Jeff, not one on the East Coast. Yeah, I did not see a radioactive symbol anywhere in Florida. And I think that is one small change that Florida should make. They should demand that these places put it in. But why don't they? Because if they do, they're going to lose the industries that they love. They're going to lose their payouts that they get from the companies. And again, I'm not making that up. You can go to opensource.org and find out all of the politicians that Mosaic pay for. Unfortunately, well, you'll see in the movie, there's a little bit of everybody in there. There's a plaque on the fountain. Yeah, you know what, Jocelyn? Actually, yeah, it's incredible. Please take a photo and put it on our phosphate page for us. I would love to see how it looks now. We have it in the movie, but it was all worn down looking, and it was kind of like a Department of Health public notice. Now, the woman that tells me to leave works at the Department of Health. I couldn't get answers. I called everybody at Mosaic. They wouldn't respond to me. I tried to get to the Department of Health. They kicked me out. Like, people down there don't want to talk about it. They just want to sweep it under the rug. Well, that worked before we had the internet, but that's not going to work now because we can bypass them and talk about it all. I'm very excited for this movie to come out. I'm very excited for everybody to see it. July 27th. I'm sorry. I know the trailer says July 13th. That was originally going to be the date, but we had to move it. We needed more time to make a bigger splash, to create a more shaking this foundation. Let's shake it down and let's fix it. Together, we can do it. I had a bunch of other stuff I wanted to share with everybody, but honestly, I just started talking about the movie and the problems down there, and it is a topic that can go on forever. So, again, I apologize. I know I've been out of the loop. I've been working on the movie. I've been traveling and shooting other movies. I was just in Romania shooting a thing about illegal logging for the company IKEA and how it's destroying the bear population. It's another movie we'll have out next year. I just went to Mexico to work on some stuff with dolphinariums. And then I'm proud to say we started our documentary on Harambe, which I will talk more about in the upcoming weeks. But for now, we are going to focus on water. And the next few episodes we have, we're going to dig deep. And we're going to bring in people that are activists down in Florida. And from their own mouths and their words, we're going to learn a lot more about what's happening down there. It is no longer going to stay invisible. That was a frustration I found with everybody down there too, is no matter how loud they bang the drum to warn everybody, the national press generally had stayed away from them. And shame on you, national press. This is your job. You are not journalists. You're entertainment. Terrible job. The national press has let these people down. The company has let these people down. The legislator has let these people down. The state has let everyone down in Florida, and they are paying the price by getting sick with chronic illnesses, deadly illnesses. Their children are getting sick. It's insane. They shouldn't be allowed to injure this many people. And every single one of them is responsible for what's happening. And you know what? These activists in Florida, they're responsible for letting everybody know. So I can't wait to get a couple people on the show. If you are there and you want to be on the show with me, please send me a message. I would love to talk to you. I really want to focus on Florida for the next couple episodes. There is so much to talk about. There's no shortage of it. So I would love to anybody that wants to speak their mind, please let me know. And I would love to have you on. We will also have a bunch of other special guests, and I don't want to give it all away just yet, but we're lining up some amazing people to come back on the show, talk to us a little bit more. Guests we've had before, guests we've never seen, but guests that know what's happening down there. And we want to hear it firsthand from the people that are in the field, the people that are in the trenches, the people that are fighting every day, the people that have to live around this every day. And why are they fighting this? Because they're seeing all their family members getting sick. And that's what motivates a lot of these people. So I want to thank them, all the activists in Florida, for fighting for this and for teaching me all about this and for opening their lives and their pain to us and letting everyone see it so we can tell the story. It's very brave to do that, to let people in like that, and all in the effort of trying to create change, which is what we're all about. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. I know we've been talking about some crazy stuff, and I just cannot wait for everybody to see the movie on the 27th to talk more about it, and we'll have lots of Q&As. Please follow us. Like I said, on social media, we're going to be doing Q&As online. We're going to be doing them at screenings. We plan to screen in a few places around Florida and make sure everybody has access to see this movie. Sue says, we can't lose your voice. Please consider Canada for treatment. Thank you, Sue. I do appreciate that. It's there's a lot of complications with what's happening. But I'm okay. I'm more worried about the people in Florida right now. I'll get through my thing. But again, it's motivated me. When my cancer came back and hit me, I said, we need to focus on what's causing these cancers. I have an environmentally based cancer. So we need to find out what's happening, and we need to stop it. If we can turn that, it's like turning off the water. We can just turn off so many environmental based cancers with responsible leaders, responsible companies, and hardcore activists. And we at least have the hardcore activists, and we'll try to find responsible leaders and responsible companies. I know they exist, but Mosaic is not one of them. Jeff said, wish I could stay longer meeting with Stell to get our water samples done. Thank you, Jeff. You guys are always out. And again, that's Fight for Zero. If you don't know fightforzero.org, go there. They're an amazing resource. They test water and they put out cancer cluster maps. And you can see if where you live has water issues. You can see the water test results. You can see the cancer clusters in your area. It is an amazing website. Jeff and Stell's work and everybody else at Fight for Zero has actually been a big game changer for what's happening down there. Same with Mosaic. Go check them out. And I can't wait to talk to you guys more. I will be back every Saturday. We'll be talking about water quality issues, because what's in your water? And that's a question that I really want you to think about, because we have a lot to talk about coming up. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being part of this community. I have missed everybody so much, and it's really exciting to be back with a new show. It's great to see everybody on here. Thanks, everybody. Please, if you can, and again, I'm not asking for the movie, but I'm asking for the grassroots movement that is already occurring in Florida. Share the trailer as best you can. Like the page. Let's get some commotion. Let's get some attention, and let's get this conversation going. All right, everybody. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. Keep your eyes on the channel, on the YouTube channel. We're going to be releasing a bunch of videos coming up, and we got a lot more to do. So our work is just beginning. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon.